you're crushing it in SaaS and you've got a 50% margin. All your costs considered, you're rocking it at 50%. And if I could find you 5% of pure profit, that's a 10% raise. You'd be like, Matt, well, where's this hidden 5% of pure profit that's lingering, hidden underneath here? It's paused accounts. How would you like a 10% raise? I want to talk.
I like that hook.
Is that good? Is that good? Okay. So we are talking paused accounts. So in the software subscription space, there is one thing that I feel incredibly judged by, and there's another thing that is a kind of a hidden opportunity. So the first thing is if you look at your churned monthly recurring revenue, if you've been doing business for any bit of time, it's like a little bit of a painful stat to look at because it just turns out, especially in the software space, or probably more so in the service space, nothing lasts forever. Even in the software space, nothing lasts forever. You extend out the time frame. You're like, how many funnel builders have I used over the last 8 years? You're like, I probably tried like 3 or 4. That means so about every 2 years, it didn't average out that way, but you test a lot, right? In terms of softwares you get into, depending on how sticky they are and how not sticky they are. But so that churned revenue, lost opportunity is a biggie. The other side of it is we've talked about what gets rewarded gets repeated. It's like the gamification kind of rewards of what goes into a system or being part of a community. The other side of that token is, I like to say, what gets taxed gets reduced. But basically, it's the carrot and the stick, right? If you penalize it, it gets reduced. So what gets rewarded gets repeated. What gets penalized gets at least paused. And so in the world of SaaS or in the world of high level, there's more opportunity now to take it to have the positive side of this. So from this perspective, let's say you're crushing it in SaaS and you've got a 50% margin. All your costs considered, you're rocking it at 50%. And if I could find you 5% of pure profit, that's a 10% raise. That's where I'm coming from. And so you'd be like, Matt, well, where's this hidden 5% of pure profit that's lingering, hidden underneath here? It's paused accounts. So maybe you've seen it or experienced it, or if you haven't, let me give you the concept. So you go to unsubscribe from somewhere. You're saying, hey, I'm done. I need to cancel. And they say, well, you can cancel or you can just pause. We don't need to give up on all of your hopes and dreams just yet. We just pause your account. And the pause can be a low ticket amount, sometimes as low as 5% of whatever you were paying monthly. So let's say you were paying $200 a month. They'd be like, well, just pay, $9 a month, $9 a month. And the account is paused. And you might be asking, well, what does it mean to have your account paused? There's usually some sort of like some data that's kept in there, some records that are still there, some history that they may want as a possibility. And that shift to kind of speaking to our loss aversion as humanity, it's pretty effective, right? Yeah. Say, hey, you can cancel it. Like, we can reduce your expenses, which is probably what you're trying to do right now. But what if you just want to pause, right? What if you change your mind, come back in the future, you still want to have access to some sort of stuff, you want to be able to recall some of the things that are going on there. And this idea of the paused account is a really, really effective one, a really powerful one. And so now inside of HighLevel, you have this idea and this possibility for paused account and paused account behavior. And so for an example of something that might be what lives in a paused account versus what doesn't. I guess first, a little story about us. We've done paused accounts before, and it's always been a bluff. We just say like, sure, it's paused, but you're like, it's either a bluff or it's highly manual. So we have to go in and we have to manually like disable stuff or turn it off. And even then, like, are we actually revoking access, or are we just kind of like gating them from seeing what they have access to? And so we've kind of done some hacky or manual ways to pause it. Now you actually have the ability to pause like things like automations, pause things like access and sending and communication. So they still have the contacts, they still have the history. They might still even have, their funnels, their automations, like the whole system that they had, that they liked, that they might want to come back to or whatever it is. But now they pay a small fee to pause, keep the data, and come back when they're ready. And so this is an answer to the problem that a lot of service providers face, especially where it's like you are too good don't know if anybody's resonating with that, where you did lead gen and the company was like, wow, it's like, weeks into it, like, this is incredible. Your cost per lead is so little, is so low. This is awesome. We're getting so many leads. This is awesome. And they're like, okay, we need to pause. You're like, wait. So my reward for doing a great job is that you stop paying me? They're like, yes, it's not even a cost consideration anymore. It is just our capacity that limits us from being able to continue to pay you to do the incredible work that you're doing. And so you're left with this feeling of success never felt so empty. You're like, so you're telling me I was so good that you're going to stop paying me? And they're like, yes, that's exactly right. But they might say, hey, but we'll come back. And what we find is that separation, that breakup, it's not common to come back after there's a breakup. Just a very uncommon experience. Not to say you were bad. It's just rare. It's just super rare because of our fascination with new. And so the chances are we'll be like, well, I want to see what else is out there. So even when they're ready to come back, they go and they try someone else and they think like, well, what could be different? What could be better? Whereas the pause actually is seen a greater, I don't want to say reconnection, but like a reactivation.
Yeah, reactivation. Yeah. That's probably the right word.
Yeah, you see a greater reactivation from a pause than you do from a churn and then trying to get someone to sign up again, because what you've done is you've eliminated the mental gymnastics of a breakup. They didn't actually cancel you. We just went on a pause. We were, I don't know.
We're on a break.
We were on a break. That's it. Yeah, we all hear like we're on a break. And so no, truly, we're on a break. No judgment. It's all fine. But you can come back and it's easy to do. And so if you're in the SaaS game or in the space, or you're resonating with that, even from a service perspective, you're like, man, how many people have I lost in terms of recurring revenue? And if I just introduce the idea of a pause, could I recover 5%? And many times the pause behavior, even on a service provider perspective, is zero input. Like that's 100% margin. So whatever you're pausing for, that is pure margin. That's what I'm saying. If you can recover 5% of your monthly fee as a pause amount, you saw to the example of if you're doing 50% margin, 5% margin is big. If you're in the service provider space, you're doing 20% margin, like this could be a 25% boost in your bottom line, your profits, just by introducing a pause idea. The idea where it's like you can keep some things in place. We're just pausing for a low fee, then we can come back whenever you want. So if you ever get across folks who are either their capacity constrained is why they're moving on, or their cost concerned is why they're moving on, the idea of the pause is a powerful one.
I really like it. Yeah, you're looking at an improvement immediately of MRR and a potential for lifetime value to go way through the roof because of a percentage of those people, they are more likely to come back. It's really, and that can be done very strategically, right? And instead of just offering, you can cancel, right? Just say, hey, you can cancel, or I can, or I like your line, or I can tell you what most people do.
Yeah, we can absolutely cancel. Or I can tell you what all the other sensible people do. No, but here, I guess call that a bonus to this high level hot take is if you want, in terms of framing and language there, they have found people prefer to be in the majority. It just is. It is what it is. And so they've done. I remember I took a class. Well, people know him. It's like Cialdini was teaching a class and UCLA, and the study that they were referencing was, I think it had to do with like environmental stuff. They were trying to get people to like either recycle or not use their towels as often, I think, inside of the hotel. And they kind of did they tried an angle where it was kind of like, it was almost like, nobody's doing this, so try to help us. Like, we need your help. Like 80% of people don't care about the environment, but you do. Let's do this. And versus like, hey, most people do this, and would you do it too? And they found as much as you try to compel someone towards like the positive action, we prefer to be in the majority than we prefer to be right or even aligned with our values. We would prefer to be in the majority than we as a higher priority than being even aligned to ourselves. And we probably all feel that's why peer pressure works, right? We're like, man, I acted in misalignment to what I believe. And you're like, why did that happen? Oh, because I felt more compelled to just be in the majority. So if you're going to try and have a more persuasive framing there, when you, juxtapose or kind of do the side by side of you cancel, or what most people do is they pause, and here are the reasons why they probably chose to pause. And at that point, subtly, folks are a little bit. There's a higher chance that they'll say, "Oh yeah, I want to do what most folks do," and those feel like reasonable reasons. So there's your bonus for this high level hot take.